Good evening, shields and swords people, and welcome to Gustav Making Stuff. Now, these two will mate into the dance of the shield and the sword for these fantasy things. So, let's get going with it! So we're starting here with this sheet of foam here, which we are going to cut off the sword from. With the puzzle pieces there on the side, you see. And now we are going to draw out this here. This would be actually much easier to do these things in wood, but some of you do not have woodworking equipment in your homes, and I absolutely understand that you don't have that. Anyway, so this is a half-decent way to do it. So now you can cut out all the little puzzle pieces there, and now we're going to measure where the center of this thing is, so we can gonna put in the plastic pipe to make it more sturdy, because otherwise it's very, very flimsy and will just start waving around when you are using it. So that's a very good thing. Also, if you're going to fight with this, it will work better. Anyway, so now you see I've cut out the middle there, and now we are going to cut this in length. Now we have it. Now, a flat surface, and you are going to glue this in there, and it's going to look like the reversed blood trench, or whatever it's called. The thing in the middle of swords, which they have. I don't know if they are cosmetic or if they actually have some kind of structural function to the sword. I'm not very good at blacksmithing sword. That's not on my skill sets, unfortunately not. If you wonder why I'm having a headlight on my head, I had it all day and forgot I had it on me, because in Sweden it's quite dark at the moment. Anyway, so now I'm measuring out where the angle is going to be, starting and ending, and you are going to be very carefully looking at the middle of the strip there, and also on the side. And this is a little bit tricky here in the front, but take your time and it will work fantastic. And also, be sure to have a very, very sharp knife. Now, here we have aluminum tape, which is amazing for making prop stuff. So you can just glue it on and just, not glue it on, put it on, and because it has glue on it, and just cut it very, because it's very, very thin. It will actually don't leave any interesting, little ledges. So now when you have done that, we are going to take a part of foam here and just push it on top of there. It works as a drill, so you can cut out rounded shapes with it. And now we're putting a little thicker plastic pipe. It's a bit of a different, I've heard. Anyway, and also a back part there. Now, this is basically it. Now we're going to paint it. And we have a fantastically grey paint here from the big batch of grey paint. If you've seen our earlier episodes of my Fantasy Week here, you will absolutely know what I mean about that. If you don't, check them out. It's fun. It's much of fancy. Now, here we go to cut out a strip of leather. I think this is like 3 centimeters. And just twist it around and glue it around the handle, so it will look fantastic. Now it's a little bit short, so let's just make another strip there and just keep on going like nothing has happened. Because leather is, you cannot make infinite leather strips. Or maybe you can, but that would be very large animals, I think. Anyway, because leather is made out of skin of animals. If you didn't know that, well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Now, let's keep on going here by mixing up darker grey paint here to put on the handle, and also having brown, a little bit of brown and black, and just going to rub it into the sword so it will look a little bit more realistically interesting things, because it looks like too shiny almost. And now when we have let that dry, we're actually gonna take our liberty and do a little bit of brushing here on the side. It's not dry brushing, it's just very fucking wet brushing, because we want a lot of metal shine on the edges of this, because it looks cool. So now you see, suddenly you can see like the edges of it, you get a little bit more definition, even though it doesn't look like this in reality at all. Most things that are worn looks kind of different, but anyway, it looks fantastic for what it's going to be used for. And I think that is almost finishing up. Also a little bit of more metal paint on the metal blade there, because metal isn't static, so it will look like a little more interesting to have different shines to it. Anyway, this was the sword. Now the shield. we will have one big sheet of this EVA foam thing going on here. We are going to use the whole block. Maybe this was the one I cut it out of the sword out of. So it's, yes, it is. So it is a little bit narrower, but whatever. We will have a shield out of one sheet. That's economy. So now, you see, there we have the shape there, and now also this is a little bit out of it, but I also did this kind of handling. So now you know that. And now you see here, we are just going to put on like 3 centimeters, I think it was. You will have to put it on yourself, depending on your design on your shield. And now I'm actually going to heat this up and pre-shape it before I'm going to cut it. And this is the heat gun. And you see it's incredibly messy because all these costumes are coming to an end now. So now we have cut this thing here. Don't cut everything at once. Just leave it together, like in top there. Maybe cutting a little bit more there. Maybe you see 3/3. And then we are going to glue half of it because it's going to be half sticking up. So it will have a little bit of an interesting ledge going on in the front there. You see? There we go. Now this is the handle. I just made a little bit of a handle so my hand can stick through and just put a pipe around it. And so it will now be glued like that. Sorry for filming that, but the camera is so old that the button has started to worn out soon. So sometimes I just press and doesn't check. Anyway, now we're just going to carve a little bit of thing, because we cannot put bolts straight through this, which we should do, but no. It will be nicer if it's flat. Now, you see, I have a little bit of thicker foam part there, and we'll just glue it, because it doesn't really glue very well until the little texture thing going on. So, there we have a shield, but we're not finished yet. See how good they work together. Now you're a knight, and now I'm petting the cat. It's very important to pet the cat. Anyway, now this will be grey, also with the same patch of grey that I have mentioned before. The grey paint. It has returned. Don't worry, it can be a franchise in the future sometimes. The Paint! Part 1 to 3, and Resurrection, and Revelations, and Origins, and everything else that you can put in sequel name to make Paint more interesting. There we go! Brown paint on the ledges there! But now, the person requested something that looks like the symbol from Skyrim. I haven't played Skyrim, but I knew it exists and what it is. I got offered a copy of Skyrim once, and I said, no! I need to do things. Which was a good thing, because then after that I heard that it takes like 200 hours to finish it or something. Now we are going to cut that out, and we are going to leave everything else like that. And now we are going to put some nails to hold it in place. So it will be very small holes, so don't worry about it, no one will see it. And now we are just going to paint inside it, so we can have a dragon there. It's a very interesting. You can also print this out and cut it out, but why not use the screen? It will take almost the same time and save ink to your expensive ink on your printer. Now you see, that looks fabulous, doesn't it? Also put back the needles in the box. Also, to make it look like less than an orange plastic handle there, I'm going to glue on a little bit of fabric here. Also for the comfort of your hands to hold this in. Because shields are meant to behold. There we go. Isn't it lovely? Indeed. And now we're gonna have some little bit of metal paint on the side. So you can also do some cuts in this, or just go outside and throw it on the ground several times. So it will look like it has gone through some rough medieval times or fantasy times. As you see, it just adds a little bit of definition that it is made out of a metal shield. This. Fantastic, right? And I cannot do this slow enough. Anyway, now, this will be a little bit of a film that will be coming out when it's finished. It will start soon, production, which I think is really interesting. Then I can ask you the question here. Is there anything else you would like to see in this fantasy week? So leave a request for that. You can also read other requests. I will put them out on my list for requests that I will go through sooner or later when I get by. I try to do them all, but some of the requests are very, very complicated parts, which I can't really find or anything, so this will have to wait. So sorry about that. But anyway, the result of this looks like this, and I think it will be very lovely. Hope you find it fascinating and good. See you in the next one. Bye.